Welcome to the Ultimate Shift podcast. I'm so excited to have you here, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to have a listen. I really appreciate it. Let me introduce myself. My name is Vanessa Jane. I am a coach, counsellor, and an advanced Mace practitioner. But to tell you a little bit about how I got to this point in my journey. So when I was young, I was diagnosed with a chronic illness that led me to be on medication that really wasn't good. And I also spent a lot of time in and out of hospital growing up. So my childhood wasn't overly a happy childhood. I came from a loving family, but myself within myself just did not feel good. That then led me into being clinically depressed in my late 20s. And I got married and I had a child, and my depression got worse. And so what ended up happening was I got to this point where I couldn't even get off the lounge. So I was hiring a house cleaner to come and clean the house before my husband got home. So he thought I was doing something, but in actual fact, I couldn't even move. And so I knew at that point that something had to change. And that's when I started looking into personal development. Now, the personal development industry is it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it can be really hard to navigate where you start. So I started with what most people do, is starting with a counsellor. So I went and got a counsellor. And through that, I realized that I actually have an affiliate, a natural tendency to understand and help people. So that's how I ended up stepping into counselling. As I grew and healed myself, I was able to show other people how to do it. But I always felt like there was a missing piece. So I've been a qualified counsellor for well over 15 years, but there was always something missing, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. It was like, it didn't matter what happened. While my life improved, I still had this underlying feeling. So then I thought, I'll go try and get hypnotherapy. So I went and studied clinical hypnotherapy, became a qualified clinical hypnotherapist. And whilst that was fun, it didn't really get that core feeling again. So I kept searching and searching, and then my marriage fell apart. Life changed for me. And then what ended up happening was I ended up just sticking with the counselling, but always just burying that feeling down, just pushing it to the side, pretending it wasn't there, pretending that life was better than what it was. And then we kept moving forward. And then what happened was I ended up meeting somebody else, got married, and within that relationship, that was a very interesting relationship, I'll put it. And there was a point there where, there was a lot of anger. And so I asked him if he could go and get his anger sorted. So he did. And he went off and had a session. But when he came back, and this is what blew my mind, was I could see a fundamental change. Now, the counselling, curiosity, wanting to help people and myself, was like, well, what happened? And he couldn't explain it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just go get a session. So I went and had a session, and I tell you, it was phenomenal. It blew my mind. And that is how I found Mace. So over the years of doing the counseling and then doing the coaching and hypnotherapy and then studying meditation, help with de-stressing and relaxing, I finally found the key, the missing link, so to speak, of how to fundamentally help myself get rid of that feeling, and how to really be that person. I used to go to seminars and workshops and hang out. I still do hang out with amazing people, but I was hanging out with these amazing people, and I was always looking at them going, why am I not getting this? What is missing in my world that I'm not getting that? I'm not making that money, or I'm not living that relationship, or I'm not having that life, or it always felt like, and I'm not comparing, I wasn't comparing myself. I was noticing that for me, it looked like they seemed to be able to find that missing piece. So when I came across Mace, it just, as I said, it blew my mind. So as soon as I had that one session, I was like, what I need to train in this. So I then became a trainer. I'm now an advanced Mace practitioner, and it has absolutely pivoted my whole entire world, because it's a very simple, effective therapy which allows you to regain control of your life and find the real you. Not only can it put you on a path of emotional and psychological health, but it also helps to eliminate stress and all these other things. And you know what the best part is about Mace is it's for anyone. It works great with little ones, and it works with really good with people who, have, more mental health issues like PTSD or anxiety or depression. Because the thing is, any aspect, negative attitude, feelings, thoughts, or behaviors that we have that we don't like, they're not us. They're not the real you. Many of us, and I know for me, I lived this for so long, that many of us deep down, we have a clutter of negative thoughts, negative behaviors, negative patterns of being, and they lie there festering, and they persist in what feels like every moment of every day, every waking hour, and it always feels like it's a challenge. And if you do have a positive thought, a negative one just quickly takes its place. And the worst part is that we now know that there is something that can be done about it. But I didn't know that there was something that could be done. I just thought we had to practice really, really hard in pivoting the thoughts, turning them around, taking years of dedication and learning to change. And that's all we just learn to accept and say, well, that's just the hand that life dealt us. That's just the way my life's going to be. That's just who I am. That's just how I feel. That's just, these things just keep happening to me. And when I found Mace, that was the discovery, it was no longer true. Something can be done about it. And as many, hundreds of people now know, and I've worked with hundreds of people doing Mace sessions with them and changing their life on a fundamental level. Because the truth is that beneath all of that negativity, the unhappiness, the frustration, the apparent impossibility of realizing your dreams is the real you, the happy, positive, optimistic you. And so Mace gets rid of those things that are in your way. It goes to the cause of what those negative feelings are from, and it eliminates them permanently. It eliminates the negative feeling. It gets rid of that negative energy on a permanent basis. The cause of the feelings, the emotions, the behaviors, the attitudes you've unknowingly developed in response to negative events in your life. And by targeting the cause of these negativities, Mace helps you eliminate them, which leads you to having a massive change in your life and getting you feeling more naturally confident, happier, and whole. Do you ever feel like you've lost yourself somewhere? Because I know I did. I didn't even know who I was, which is why I got into relationships that were, not great for me, which is why I struggled through high school with friendship groups, which is why I always held myself back. I always thought I wasn't smart enough or good enough or worth it, or, I didn't deserve it. And which logically you go, well, that's not really, that's not true. But on a subconscious level, that's what's running you. And so all of these negativities, when you can eliminate them, they put you back in charge. Life just feels amazing. I often ask clients, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 0 being zero confidence, 10 being I'm really confident in all areas of my life. And they sit there and they go, oh, I'm a 3 or I'm a 4. And it's like, okay, great. Well, what would have to happen to make you a 10? They think about it and they go, oh, well, I'd have to, I'd be able to do this, I'd be able to do that, or I just feel better about myself. And the thing is, they already know that 10 exists. Otherwise, they wouldn't be putting themselves at a 3. They'd say they're at a 10. So on some deep core level, we know we are more than what we're being. That we know that we are meant to feel better than what we feel. Because we're searching for it. Like I said, the personal development industry is like a multi-billion-dollar business. There's a reason for that. People are searching. So, when you think, have you lost yourself somewhere? Has something changed in your world and you feel like you've missed the old self that you used to know? Maybe your carefree, fun-loving, confident person in your early 20s is not who you are now. And maybe it's time to get it back and just move forward for good. Mace permanently frees you from the emotional effects of unwanted experiences, no matter what they were, which allows you to get back in charge of your life. Is that something you'd want? Because I tell you what, that's something I definitely love, and I'm really happy to be sharing it. Anyway, it's lovely to have this conversation. Like I said, Mace is for anybody. It is a phenomenal tool, and I look forward to telling you more about it as we move along. Have a good day.